Paul Walker was known to the world as a fast-driving, thrill-seeking actor, forever tied to the high-octane world of Fast and Furious. But behind the cameras, his life held secrets few ever imagined. After his sudden and tragic death, something was discovered in his garage that no one could have expected, something that painted a very different picture of the man we thought we knew. What was it? And what did it reveal about the side of Paul Walker the public never saw? From the sun-drenched streets of Southern California, Paul Walker emerged as a child actor, but even then, there was something quietly different about him. While many peers chased the limelight, Paul was driven by curiosity, an urge to explore, to understand, to feel alive. Cars, the ocean, and adventure weren't merely hobbies, they were extensions of his personality, outlets for freedom and expression. Friends describe a young man who could be restless one moment and deeply reflective the next, someone who balanced action with introspection in ways few noticed. Those who knew him personally often recall his grounded nature. Fame did not distort him, if anything, it sharpened his awareness of responsibility. He carried a gentle empathy, treating crew members, friends, and strangers alike with respect and care. There was a quiet intelligence in his attention to detail, whether memorizing a script, analyzing the mechanics of a car, or simply listening to someone's story. Paul's love for racing, in particular, was a mirror of his inner life, a need for freedom, control, and the exhilaration of navigating challenges on his own terms. Yet, beneath the public image of the adrenaline-fueled actor, Paul was quietly building a private world. Away from cameras and fans, he cultivated spaces and practices that reflected a deeper side of him, a side few would ever glimpse. This duality became central to who he was, the man Hollywood saw and the man he chose to reveal only to those closest to him. The calm exterior, often mistaken for simplicity, concealed a rich tapestry of thought, creativity, and personal philosophy. It is in this quiet tension, the contrast between his public life and private passions, that we begin to understand the real Paul Walker. One might watch a film and see only speed, stunts, and charm, but those who looked closer saw curiosity, introspection, and a relentless pursuit of authenticity. And yet, even with all this, no one could have anticipated the revelations that would emerge from his personal sanctuary, the garage where his hidden world lived, waiting to be discovered. But behind this calm and composed exterior, Paul was quietly building something in his private world, something that would astonish those closest to him after his death. After the tragic crash, family members and investigators entered Paul's garage and were met with a scene that went far beyond simple car collection. Row upon row of meticulously maintained vehicles, some extremely rare and collectible, spoke to an intensity and care that few could have imagined. But it was not merely the cars themselves that told a story, it was the small notebooks, sketches of modifications, and detailed logs of experiments scattered throughout the space. The garage was, in many ways, a laboratory of curiosity. Each car had been customized not just for performance but for safety, creativity, and personal expression. Every detail reflected hours of thought, design, and hands-on work. More than just mechanical engineering, it revealed a mind that sought understanding, precision, and the satisfaction of creation. For Paul, this was not a hobby, it was a deeply personal practice, a way to explore ideas and confront challenges on his own terms. Yet alongside these tangible projects were traces of something more intimate. Notebooks filled with musings, sketches, and reflections hinted at a man who thought deeply about life, mortality, and the mark he would leave on the world. Sometimes humorous, sometimes contemplative, these writings provided insight into a private Paul, a man curious about his impact, committed to growth, and unafraid to examine his own thoughts with honesty. This secret world contrasted sharply with his public image. Fans saw fast cars, stunts, and charisma. Here, they saw the meticulous, reflective side of Paul Walker. Every tool, every notebook, every car was a window into his mind, a place where he could merge technical skill with creative exploration, all away from public scrutiny. It was a revelation that challenged preconceived notions about the actor and offered a fuller picture of his humanity. Why had he kept this world private, and what did these hidden notebooks reveal about the real Paul Walker? Examining the garage in detail, it became clear that Paul's passion for cars was far deeper than mere thrill-seeking. Each vehicle bore personalized touches, custom engine configurations, safety modifications, and creative designs reflecting both technical skill and artistic expression. It was a reflection of a man who approached life with a blend of curiosity, discipline, and playfulness. The cars were not trophies, they were experiments, projects, and canvases for his intellect and imagination. Even more revealing were the written messages tucked among the tools and logs. Sometimes light-hearted, sometimes somber, these notes addressed himself or a hypothetical future version of Paul. They spoke of mortality, personal growth, and the fleeting nature of life, hinting at an awareness that fame and fortune could not shield him from the deeper questions that haunted him. Paul was thoughtful about his choices, reflective about his experiences, and keenly aware that each day held both risk and opportunity. This deeper perspective transformed how one might interpret his public persona. The high-speed stunts, the film roles, the celebrity image, these were only facets of a larger, more introspective character. His love for engineering, customization, and careful documentation revealed a man intent on understanding the world, shaping it, and leaving something behind that mattered beyond applause or box office numbers. Yet, amid these discoveries, one particular item emerged that stunned even those closest to him. It hinted at intentions, dreams, and passions that had never been shared publicly, suggesting that even those who thought they knew Paul still had much to learn. And yet, there was one discovery that startled even his closest friends, something that would challenge how the world remembered him. Among the many revelations in the garage were personal journals that revealed a side of Paul Walker rarely seen, his vulnerability. While he was admired for his confidence and charisma on screen, these writings unveiled the emotional depth beneath the surface. Paul wrote about his anxieties, his gratitude, and his reflections on fleeting moments of life. They captured a man who celebrated joy but felt the weight of responsibility, both to himself and to those he loved. His reflections often returned to family and friends. He worried about forgetting important milestones, about missing moments that truly mattered. He wrote candidly about the pressures of fame, yet his words conveyed resilience and hope, a determination to remain authentic in a world that constantly sought to define him. In these pages, one could see the tension between the public actor and the private human, the duality that shaped his choices and guided his values. This vulnerability made the garage more than a workshop or car collection, it became a repository of memory, reflection, and self-understanding. Paul's careful documentation and notes revealed a man deeply engaged with life, trying to make sense of his experiences while leaving traces for those who mattered. There was wisdom here, distilled from risk, creativity, and reflection, a reminder that behind any icon is a human grappling with universal concerns. It raised a question: did anyone truly know the man behind the Hollywood image, or had we only seen the speed and spectacle? Further exploration revealed Paul Walker's quiet philanthropy. Hidden among his personal effects were receipts, letters, and plans documenting charitable contributions and projects. Paul had long supported causes close to his heart: environmental initiatives, children's programs, and disaster relief efforts. These acts of generosity were largely private. He did not seek recognition or headlines, instead allowing his impact to exist quietly, away from the public eye. The discovery painted a portrait of a man motivated by empathy. Generosity was not performative for Paul, it was an extension of his values, a reflection of his desire to leave the world better than he found it. Even in the midst of a demanding career, he prioritized the lives of others, finding purpose and fulfillment in giving without expectation of acknowledgement. Friends and colleagues noted that this side of him often went unnoticed, overshadowed by the fame and cinematic thrill of his on-screen persona. It became clear that the garage was more than a physical space, it was a map of Paul's inner life. Every project, notebook, and gesture spoke to his passions, curiosity, and commitment to personal and societal growth. In this light, his heroism was not only about daring stunts on the silver screen but also in the quiet choices he made every day. The juxtaposition of public spectacle and private generosity offered a fuller, richer understanding of who he truly was. How many of these efforts went unnoticed, and what did they say about the priorities that guided his life? Family members described Paul's garage as a mirror of his mind. Orderly, yet alive with energy. Private, yet deeply personal. Each vehicle, journal, and tool reflected not only his technical skill but his thoughtfulness, discipline, and creativity. The space revealed the duality of a man who thrived in public arenas while simultaneously cultivating private spaces for reflection and growth. Walking through the garage, one could see how his passions intertwined with his personality. Cars were not just mechanical projects, they were canvases, playgrounds, and laboratories for self-expression. Journals were not mere logs, they were repositories of emotion, philosophy, and observation. In every corner, the balance of risk and reflection, speed and thoughtfulness, was evident. This mirrored duality, public spectacle versus private depth, captured the essence of Paul Walker's life. It illustrated a person striving to reconcile fame with authenticity, excitement with reflection, and influence with humility. The garage became not merely a room, but a metaphorical space where the complexity of his character was laid bare for those willing to look. But one final discovery would leave everyone questioning how we remember Paul Walker, and what truly mattered to him. At the heart of the garage lay a collection that spoke to Paul Walker's values: curiosity, creativity, safety, and integrity. Family and friends recognized in it a carefully curated legacy, one that reflected not only his love for cars but his commitment to life, learning, and connection. Every vehicle, tool, and journal served as a testament to a life lived with intentionality, thoughtfulness, and care. The garage, once a private sanctuary, became a symbol of Paul's life philosophy. It revealed a man who did not merely chase thrills or fame but who sought to understand, to create, and to leave something meaningful behind. Those who knew him understood that this was the real Paul Walker, a thinker, a creator, a human deeply committed to the passions and people he loved. As the world continues to remember him through the lens of blockbuster films and tragic headlines, the discoveries in his garage invited deeper reflection. They challenge us to consider what it means to truly know someone, and how much of a person's life remains hidden beneath the surface of public perception. In the end, Paul Walker's life, like the cars he cherished, was a delicate balance of motion, control, and careful thought, a legacy that continues to inspire curiosity, empathy, and reflection. And as the world remembers the thrill of the screen, one question lingers: what else remains hidden, waiting to reveal the man we never fully knew?